What's the word? Hello. What's the word, y'all? Welcome. Today is the 15th. Oh my gosh. The month is flying by. Yo. Listen. Not y'all calling me out. I know, but I couldn't leave the crib. I gotta be on the session today. I'm gonna see if I can pull up after this though, low key. Welcome in, y'all. It's been a meanie. I know, but I gotta sit down. I gotta have my notes and everything. It's too much of a setup. But I'm sure it has been absolutely beautiful. I wish I could be there. Stacked lineup. I have it on my list of events to talk about, so I got y'all. I think it's going till 9 p.m. today. What's good, Carter? Happy Saturday, y'all. If y'all aren't familiar, that was my guy Latrell James. Another incredible Boston artist, some recent releases. Is anybody else, there's actually a few different events going on this weekend. What are y'all plans? Let me know. Or if y'all are staying in, that's cool too. I don't blame you. Let's get a little brick out here. Alright, y'all. Alright. Welcome to Beantown Talks, guys. What's the word? Yo, this weather is confusing me. I feel like the wind gusts were crazy. Somebody was telling me about the Arctic cold. I thought that was the wave, and then the past couple of days were mad sunny. I'm not mad at it. Really great day to have a block party. I should be used to how bipolar the weather is, but here we are. I hope y'all are doing swell. I hope y'all have been so blessed. So great to be back. It's Brick and Bronze. It is for real, man. I still don't have a real winter coat, which I don't know how I've been surviving all the past winters without one, but the Tims will get me through, right? Y'all, so good to be back. I just got hip to this brand, and maybe I'm late to the party, but Reek knows. I actually just got the packaging today, okay? Y'all see that B? I think it might be flipped on camera, but new collection just dropped, and it's a whole Boston collection, sweatshirts with Boston on it. We got the fitted caps with the little B, not the big B, but the little big B. If you need a winter coat, I got you. I'll drop it off at the block party. Wait. Oh my gosh. Bro. So much love. See, this is community. This is community right here. Actually, well, I'm gonna see if I can go, cause also I feel like this session about to be another long one. At this point, all of them are pushing 2 hours. The fact that you're at the block party and on this live, I appreciate you, bro. Oh man, y'all. Yeah, that's Reek knows if anybody's interested in that collection. I got two hats. I couldn't just get one. Y'all know I gotta rep Boston heavy. And just so everybody knows, voting for the Boston Music Awards closes this week on November 17th. So please go in bostonmusicawards.com/vote if you want to put your vote in. A lot of great people in the running for this year. And again, the tunes today were from Latrell James, awesome hip-hop artist, incredible producer from Boston. His whole family is highly favored. Like, it's actually wild. Those are some recent drops. Damn, and a little bit of Shots Fired. But yeah, y'all, this is the 5th Beantown Talks. That's kind of cool. Thank you for folks who have been joining in since the beginning, or if you just hopped on last week, or at any point, if this is your first one, welcome. Beantown Talks is a place where we just talk about Boston's past, present, and future all at once, unfiltered, open forum style. My name is Stacks, if you're not familiar. I do a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, I'm just a Gen Z Bostonian with a 6-foot vision for this city, and I know I'm not the only one, so I appreciate y'all being here. If you are, you're probably passionate too about where the city is headed and where the city has been, so, we gotta lock our minds together and just pour as much energy as possible, positive energy, productive energy, into making this city the greatest that it can be. So welcome. If you've been here, you know the drill, but if it's your first time, I'm gonna just go through kind of how this works. So like I said, when I say open forum style, I genuinely mean that. Oh my gosh, Smoke is in the building. Oh my gosh, what's good, legend? Yeah, open forum style. I genuinely mean that. At any point, like, if anybody wants to hop on and share perspectives, all perspectives are welcome. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. And every week we tend to have a special guest. And we do have one for this week. We've had one for the past 3 or 4 weeks, actually. What's good? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Oh, this feels like a family. I can't wait till these can be in person. Listen, I have visions, guys. I have visions, and at some point, like, I need these. I'm such an in-person energy person, and like, I wish I could hug y'all and speak to y'all and exchange energy way past this screen. But we here. So yeah, we have a special guest for every week come in. Someone who has seen Boston through different phases, someone who, whether they're a thought leader, whether they're a creative, just someone who has perspective to offer on where the city has been and where the city might be headed. And if there's anyone on here, it'll be a conversation, but anybody is welcome to join at any point if you feel inspired, or if you just want to share your thoughts and comments, not on the live, but in the comments. Like, please feel free. Throughout the whole thing, I'll be reading through and really making sure that this feels like a communal conversation, because I know one thing about this city, we got opinions for days, so please don't be afraid. I just ask that we keep it respectful, okay? That's all I ask, because I know when we get to talking about Boston, there's a lot of different emotions that come up, sometimes traumatic, sometimes, loving and passionate and proud, but, let's keep it respectful and PG. I always put that out there. No hate speech, no vulgar language, let's try and not point fingers. This is a place where we're trying to keep it productive. We all know that there's a bunch of problems out here, but it can either be an echo chamber, or we can bring them here and figure out what the solutions are. The day is coming when we all link up. Listen, The Discord has already been catching on. The Discord is already ready to make that happen. I'll talk about the Discord in a second too for folks who might not be familiar, but y'all, it's gonna happen. Give it a little bit of time, but I'm feeling something in 2026. I don't know. This the big B, not the little one. But yeah, if any questions pop up at any point, y'all please feel free to hit that little question icon on the bottom. I'll be checking that as well throughout if you have questions for our special guest, or if you just have a question that you want to throw out there for anybody to answer and shed some light on. Totally welcome. You can also just put questions in the comments too. Like I said, I'll be reading that throughout. If you want to hop on the live yourself, there should be like a request to join with the camera icon below. But also, like, if you want to put your hand up in the comments too, I'll do it right now. I like to demonstrate just so people know. You can get your little hand, put your little hand up, and I'll make sure I catch you and get you on here. I love hearing from people, so please don't be shy. Again, this is no judgment, especially from me. I'm learning, okay? For folks who might not know, like, I'm from Boston, but, you know, I haven't been hip to a lot of things for so many different reasons, but this is literally me studying, bringing in people. Like, I'm not joking. I take notes. Every time. And just so y'all know, like, every session gets archived. If this is your first one, or if you weren't able to make it to the other ones, they all get archived on YouTube. You can find the link on my profile. But yeah, y'all, let's get into it. Some events coming up. I always love to give some events for those of y'all who are looking to do something on the weekend. I don't want to ever hear ever again that Boston got no motion, or there's nothing going on. There's too much going on, okay? Today, actually, literally right now as we speak, City of Boston and Club Indigo are hosting a block party, and there were so many this year. I think there was like a whole, like the city had a whole grant just designed to for people to throw on different block parties. So they haven't stopped. The cold don't stop us from being outside, okay? We got a block party going on at Downtown Crossing. And it's really to just celebrate sound and community. So that's today. You know, if y'all want to stay here and then hop on the block party after, that's what I might be doing. I might be headed there after at Downtown Crossing on Winter Street from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's all day, and it's free entry with RSVP, but I'm sure y'all can just pull up. I'm going to put their info here if you want to head to their page. That's Club Indigo, INDGO. Put that in the chat. Also today, if you go to the block party and then you want to hop on to another event right after that, see, I got the whole day curated for y'all. We got the Boston Jazz Foundation with Culture Nights, hosted by the Amanda Shea and Seba Molnar for another celebration of community, creativity, connection. There'll be live music, spoken word, live painting, food, drinks. They got you covered with all of it. That's, again, today at the Piano Craft Gallery from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Another free entry with RSVP. We love free 99. We sure do. And if you want to find out more, feel free to go to Boston Jazz Foundation. Putting that in the chat as well. And last but not least, okay, I give y'all three. Tomorrow, Boston author and publisher Destiny Polk is hosting another brunch and poetry at Rhythm and Raps. So if there's any writers in here, it could be spoken word, or just regular prose. If you're looking for a writer's workshop, there's also an open mic as well. And if you're just looking to be in community with other fellow writers, this is a great place to pull up to. And good food. Okay, let's not forget about that. That's tomorrow at Rhythm and Raps from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. You can find out more at Des The Connect. Shout out Dez, okay? And shout out Justin. If you have not been to Rhythm and Raps, please do yourself a favor. And if you want to hear about more events, because this is just 3, I promise. There's so many more, y'all. I'm not going to bombard y'all with all the events coming up this month, but if you want to know about them on a more regular basis, please join the Discord. We already broke over 500 people in there, and it's a bunch of incredible creatives, a bunch of incredible minds, and people who are just passionate about pushing the city forward. The link to join is in my Instagram bio. Super quick application. And yeah, I update it weekly, on a weekly basis, with a whole bunch of different events for different creatives, whether it's, writing, visual artists, music. There's a whole bunch of different folks in there, producers, engineers, photographers, whatever resources and opportunities that come up on my radar, I throw them in there for y'all. So yeah, okay, pull up to the brunch. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Alrighty. Let's get into it, y'all. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so if you were here for last week's session with Milk, shout out Milk, you probably remember me mentioning this incredible event that was hosted by Smoke, and because that's where I met Milk at. And lo and behold, I met this special guest for today at the same event. Moral of the story is, number 1, shout out Smoke, because he knows some incredible people. I'm sure there were more people in that room that I didn't even get to meet, but absolutely beautiful curation. Number 2, please pull up to the events in this city. Please. If you do, you don't gotta be outside all the time, but I promise you, especially the events that we talk about here and that we share in the Discord, like, even if you just pull up to one, you will find, you just never know who you'll come into contact with. You never know who you'll bump into, and there's so much greatness in this city. Like, we're bleeding with greatness. So please pull up to the events, be outside, show your face, let people get to know you too, and see how we can build. Like, there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's people who, move a little sideways, but please don't let that tarnish, like, the whole city. Don't let the few bad seeds and the few bad apples, it completely ruin the fact that there's so many great apples in this city. So, facts. It was dope connecting with someone from the Discord last night. Finally, yeah, let's go. Now, there's so many, like, organic connections that happen. All we have to do is just be together. Like, that's little side tangent, but I feel like that's one of the solutions I've seen that is very easy. Like, we just have to be in the same place, and we just have to be in the same room. And once that happens, then it's like, oh, you do this, oh shoot, I do that too. Oh, this person. Like, what do they say? Like, especially on the industry, like, creative industry side of things, the world is small, and then when you come from a small city, it's like that world becomes even smaller. Like, I promise you, y'all, I went through the same process. I didn't know nobody last year. I remember going to my first Boston Music Awards in 2023. I went by myself because I didn't know anybody, and I, like, fast forward to now, like, I just started going outside, and I started finding people who, like, we aligned, our values aligned. I met peeps from Blair Witch concert that I didn't imagine meeting there. Facts. I promise you. Especially, like, these events that are really centered around, like, uplifting certain communities and, shedding light on creatives. Just creatives in general. Like, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not ignoring the fact that there are some artists and creatives who are interesting. I'll use that word. But there's like this natural energy from a creative to, like, share and be collaborative and just envision. That's why I love being creative. Like, in order to inspire change and, like, literally create new pathways, that requires you to be creative, because you're thinking of, like, okay, this is what What's good, soul? Oh my gosh, hey, welcome, welcome. Yeah, like in order to literally envision a different future and how you, what elements of the present you can change to make better, like it's almost like a puzzle piece, and you have to be creative to, okay, this piece doesn't work, this thing didn't work. Okay, let me try something else. Let me switch this out for something else. Let me go talk to somebody. Like that's what creativity is too. So I love that a lot of creatives innately have that kind of mentality, and trust me, like there's so many just in the Discord alone, just in the Discord. So if you're looking for like-minded people who are just trying to come together with the one mission of like pushing this entire community through the door, we're here. We're here for sure. Welcome everyone who's joining in. This is the 5th Beantown Talks. Okay, we talking about Boston's past, present, future, unfiltered, open forum style, all perspectives welcome. And today, I'm so excited. One more story that I have to share, because I need y'all to know there's so much that I'm learning in real time. So I went to this event, right? And there was this like poster of the Source, like a couple pages from the Source magazine. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the Source was like a super huge hip hop media outlet during the 80s and 90s, and it originated in Boston. Okay, I've never seen. I heard of the Source before this, but I had never seen it in person. So like, and for those of you who've met me in person, I am 6 feet, but some on some days I look a little smaller. So just imagine, this small person just in front of this massive poster, and like my jaw was just dropped the whole time. And shout out to Smoke, because he was so gracious to give some of us a copy to take home. And I read this through, and I'm such a like emotive person, and because I'm so passionate about all of this stuff, my mind was blown, to say the least. And I wanna put this page up real quick. Okay? Y'all see that? Y'all see that title? The Rap About Town, Look at the Boston Hip Hop Scene. I'm gonna read just a few lines so y'all can understand real quick. Don't sleep on it, y'all, because the Boston hip hop scene is in cold effect. Look for a number of Boston rap groups to make their mark around the country in the next few months, with the growth of local record companies now backing Beantown rap talent, as well as the increased interest of New York-based companies in recruiting groups from the area. New and quality wax is hitting the streets every week. Here's a rundown of some of the highlights. The T.D.S. Mob has just released their first 12-inch on Race Records, a new label from Boston. The record contains a definite hit by the name of Dope for the Folks, along with another cut called Crushin' 'Em. The Folks features a pumping, up-tempo beat complemented by a funky guitar sample taken from Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers. Add to this musical bed the adept and innovative style of rapper Kool G, and there you have it. Dope for the Folks. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, first of all, there's a lot of things happening in my mind. Like, I didn't realize, like just the fact that the world was looking at Boston hip-hop specifically, I didn't know that it was such a big deal. Like, because I know how big of a deal it is. Everybody in the city knows, but for the public eye to be looking at Boston in this way, like, my mind was blown. And then all these different labels, I'm like, so we had so much going on, and there was so much excitement for the city, and I didn't know about T.D.S. Mob. I didn't know about any of this before reading this, and I'm looking at this photo. I'm looking at this photo of the trio, and then my mind clicks. One of the members is in front of my face right now. And like literally, as I'm speaking right now, I'm so blessed that in the 80s and 90s, this is not super duper far away, but as someone who's Gen Z and is like actively trying to learn about this city's roots and culture, the fact that we still have access to the people who have paved our foundation and legacy is absolutely beautiful and mind-boggling to me. So I'm just so welcome everybody coming in. What's good? Um, I'm just so honored. I'm honored. That word doesn't even fully like express how I feel, but it's the closest one. It's an absolute honor and blessing to have DJ Dinosaur K as our special guest for today. Here, y'all also might know him as DJ Michael K of T.D.S. Mob. I'm so excited for this conversation. I don't think y'all understand. Yo, yo.
Hold on 1 second. How to fix this? Let me spin the camera.
Oh, you good, you good.
How?
It
See,
might be
there we
the
go. Is that it right there? There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
What's
I'm already showing my
good?
age. I'm already showing my age with technology. How are you?
Oh no, you're good, bro. We're all figuring it out. I feel like it's getting more and more complicated every day. It's not just you.
Okay.
Look at you with the whole setup.
Yeah, I'm like, I figure, like I can show you a little bit of what I do. I'm an analog DJ, so this is where I hang out in my living room and mix and go through my record collection. I have a pretty extensive record collection behind that
Mm.
marquee, and I got a stack over here to
So
my
when you
right.
said you were pampering your soul earlier, is this part of the pampering? Like, do you pamper in here? Like, what does that
Yes,
look like for
yes,
you?
yeah. Yeah, that is part of my soul pampering process is to I'm I'm gonna pull the camera a little bit closer because as soon as I went to log in, I was on my headphones, but
Yeah, do your thing.
try to bump me out of the headphones so I can put the camera a little bit closer. But can you still see me?
Mm-hmm.
We still good? Okay. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, listen to some music clean, like Saturday morning old school stuff that I'm used to doing growing up. Saturday morning you get up, you change your linen, you throw on some music, fill the bucket with some hot water and some pine sol, and you discover music and listening to long play albums,
Mm.
you get to discover music. So whether it's me throwing on a record that I never heard and listening to, which I have a lot of them, or just today I'm in the mood for Stevie Wonder. Today I'm in the
Mm.
mood to listen to some Barry White. So
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. That's actually a good segue. I want to travel back in time real quick and just
bless up, Soul Soul. What's good?
um what how did you find hip hop or did hip hop find you?
Uh both.
Mm.
A little bit of both. I didn't know it was hip hop. It was before it was hip hop or called hip hop. My parents were born and raised in New York City in Harlem.
Got you.
So when they decided to get married and have kids, they decided that they did not want to raise their kids in the rat race, as my father called it, God bless the dead, the rat race of New York City.
Mm.
So he found work, him and my uncle, which was really his best friend, not my blood relative uncle, but family is family. and they came to Boston and they started working at the Hood ice cream plant over in Charlestown area now. And they raised a family. So that had it where every long weekend, every holiday, every summer vacation, they were homesick. So they packed the car with me and my two sisters. We're in New York every other long weekend, you know. Sometimes, you know, like they'd leave us there and pick us up. So I spent a lot of time in New York as a young child, and that's where I was infected
Mm.
with that party rock in the park thing that was going on in neighborhoods, different neighborhoods. I had an aunt that lived in Manhattan. I had an aunt that lived in the Bronx, and those were my two aunts, my two favorite aunts. And my aunt in the Bronx was my favorite aunt because she lived in a section of the Bronx where they used to do block parties, and they would rope them off. And we were shorties, so you couldn't really look in and see what was going on, but you can hear the music. You can't close your ears to it. So you're
Mm.
hearing, break beats and hearing like disco was on its transition. It was actually the thing. It wasn't on its transition out. It disco is what it was.
Mm.
But then funk and like funk, James Brown, all that stuff was what black people listened to and grooved to. So I would come back and tell my friends about the summer that I had and the music that I had and all the clothes that I bought that nobody had. And
Wow.
it just sounded like that chit chatter until hip hop actually hit records. In 1979, King Tim the Third by the Fatback Band, which was a funk band that jammed. They made a lot of good records. I Love the Girl. They were a popular R&B funk band back in the days, and they had one record that was called MC King Tim the Third MC Celebrity. Do it for me, and I'll do it for you. Do it for me, and I'll do it for you. That was pretty much the chorus, and then the rapper would come on, Mongols would stop playing, and I was able to point
Mm.
to that record and say, "See, told you, I told you,
Wow.
this is what I was talking about." And then after Sugar Hill Gang dropped Rapper's Delight, the 15-minute long first Super Smash, I consider it to be the most important and the most popular rap record of all time. Everyone says, "Oh, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince," because you hear it on doom, 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 doom. But it's Rapper's Delight
Mm.
by the Sugar Hill Gang, 15 minutes long, and I couldn't meet a person my age when the record was out that didn't know every record, every song to the, you know what I mean? Every record to the song.
Wow.
So every word to the record. So that's the era I grew up.
Wow. During that time when you were bouncing back and forth between New York and Boston, what was happening in Boston? Was there like a separate culture? Were you seeing like that level of community or like arts, music scene? How active was it?
Well, with the scene, it Boston is a rock town. Boston is considered to be, we built the city on rock and roll type of town.
Mm.
And even R&B groups until New Edition came about, it was considered to be a rock town. So that affected a lot having to do with the growth of hip hop, coupled with, you know, when it got to be around the mid 80s, it got to be a little bit of more violence that was added to the mix and more conflicts between neighborhoods and, the influence of uh, what we now call gang culture. But
Mm. I
But
see.
back in those days, it was like you were until hip hop came out and influenced the neighborhoods of the streets of Boston, and then everybody started actively, doing hip hop as a hustle and as an aspiration to take it there. We had some good role models. We had good hip hop for us back in the days. It was all about radio. Listen to the radio
Mhm.
and the popular radio shows. Going, like you said, going outside is always going to be what it needs to be or what it should be to
Mhm.
really get, to be able to breathe it in. You got to go
Right.
outside and be a part of it. So
Right.
spending outside was the thing back. Block parties, taking your
Mhm.
music outside and having all the dope records and stuff like that. So rapping really got to be where, it's like, oh, this is what it is. And being a DJ, and we take credit for invented us DJs invented hip hop. I mean,
Mm.
like we started it, like the rappers came, the graffiti was always around, but all the different elements in hip hop were important back then. Now it's just about the rapper
Yeah.
and his gold chain or his platinum chain or his ice or his watch. Not even about the microphone. So
That part. That part. Hold on. We definitely gonna get into what the current vibes are. I want to stay in the past real quick before we make that transition. So your path into like DJing officially, like where you got the name and everything. Can you tell us how you got there and then how the trio met?
okay, I started DJing in 1979, but I
Wow.
actually became a DJ officially in 1980 when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And it was about having a record collection, knowing how to mix and blend the popular songs together, and just keeping the flow of the party
Mm.
going and elevated. It was all about that. And then once hip hop came out, then there was little crews that started to develop in the neighborhood, and we would there was shows that you could be a part of. There was talent shows. That's really where I got my bones as far as getting my name out there and getting known. Because as a young DJ, I was practicing the stuff that I heard on tape. You didn't have videos, so you couldn't watch somebody doing something on the turntables and then, like visually watch. You would have to hear it and figure out how are they doing that.
Mm.
You would go buy the same copies, two copies of the record if they were beating up or mixing a record, and you would just have to figure it out. So that's where the parents' record collection. Oh, my mom's got a copy of this record. I got to
Wow.
go either to the used record store or to the record shop and buy the other copy and then put the marks on the records and do all of that, because with the traditional way of mixing, once you put the needle on the record and it starts moving, if it skips, you don't have the option of hitting a button. So it
Mm.
was it was really a lot of technical stuff and actually learning how. So I could say by the time I was 16, I was a DJ to have it where it's like I know everything about my equipment. Now I'm adding my flavor, my style, and my brand to it. My
Oh.
name, Michael K, DJ Michael K. That was my first name. That is my name. I'm Michael Kevin. So the K standing for Kevin. I became DJ Michael K, and practicing my bedroom every summer and winter and getting good and, like creating my style. Uh, I have a sister 2 years younger than me,
Mm.
uh, named Crystal. She became, by accident, like, the first DJ turntablist. Now, turntablist is not someone that just plays records and mixes and blends. A turntablist or a hip hop DJ is somebody that can take records and manipulate them, like taking two copies, doing blends, cutting, scratching,
Mm.
intros, interludes, skit type things. So that's what I aspired to be, a unique in that aspect. And then my sister
Wow.
messing with my equipment one day, and not setting it back because I would jury rig my set. I found out that she was messing with my stuff. When I asked her, she said no.
Oh my gosh.
And then I let her know because she still is to this moment, my best friend in life,
Oh.
the person I'm closest to. And then once, I said, like, I don't want you to mess my stuff up. Needles are expensive. Everything is vinyl. I don't want you to cut, scratching and put marks on the record. So I showed her what she was watching me do and going and trying to do when I wasn't around. So
Mm.
I'm a first generation DJ. A
Wow.
lot of DJs, you had an uncle or, a lot of DJs that are some of the greatest DJs in the world are second or third generation DJs. They had a DJ in
Mm.
the family. So that's one of the things that I take pride in. It's also saying about myself. Like, I played bass. My mom wanted me to play piano. Like, I was always into music, heavily into music, to a point
Oh
where it's like, okay, if
wow.
this is keeping him out of trouble, then steer him in this direction. And I played bass for a couple of years, thinking I wanted to be Bootsy Collins.
It's never too late, man.
Who's from this group called, Bootsy's Rubber Band, who's a funk band? Because I have to be cognizant of the fact that the youth, them, like, they don't know a lot, and you can't crap on them for their lack of knowledge, because
Yeah.
us as elders, we're supposed to push it forward as far as the information, the lessons, and, the knowledge, and inspiring the youth. So meeting you at Smoke's event, that's why I do stuff like that. First of all,
Mm.
Smoke, I met him at an event similar to
Oh my
like
gosh,
that.
no
We met on
way.
the stage at the Wang at an event that was being thrown where he had a part of it, and we were being honored as T.D.S. mob. And,
Mm.
so I like that connection that has it where, like, the people that love the culture, not just the music, not just the particular artist, but the culture, come out and make an effort in some way, shape, or form to acknowledge or pay homage to the people that impress. So when I saw you reading that and you came up to me and asked me about that, I was like, "See, this is dope." And then to
No,
find out that
absolutely.
you're her, you're the next her, if not, you know what I mean? Like, Beantown's 6 foot stacked. I'm a fan, so,
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. I
you know.
appreciate that. It's funny
All right,
because
so
I've been
let me stay on
having
my
these.
path. So,
No, you're good.
I,
You're good. I'm so glad you mentioned that though, because real quick, it's two ways. Like the youth also have to be willing and interested to learn.
but you
And
have to make them interested. You have to. For a little while, I was doing a little bit of teaching a couple of years ago in a high school, a music program, a music theory and DJ 101 class in a high school. And
mm,
this high school happened to be a high school for, kids with issues, whether they're behavior issues, whether they're issues in the streets, and this is their last stop school or what
mm,
have you. I walked in knowing that what I was getting into, you know, and so there I approached it like that, kind of like halfway, like, hey, it doesn't. I halfway don't care, but halfway punking them to be like, Psh, but you can't, and then do something that's going to catch their attention. I do
Mhm.
body tricks. I'm a turntablist. I can manipulate a record. I can, to have it where whether it's one guy, the group of guys, the girls, or everyone is just like, oh, okay, now I have your attention. And you want to learn how to do that? Then, like
Mm.
unswell your chest and come on over here and let me show you what it is. And then they get to come up and close. And then there's some that just want to, oh, I see turntables or controller and a mixer, like the nerds,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
the technology, those that love, shiny objects and buttons and stuff. So I'm trying to break through to everybody. So I know the ones that are
Right.
in, and if you get somebody that is in and knows what they're doing and paying attention and focus, and then they can execute it, then it kind of makes all the people that want to be little standoffish being like, oh, I can't let glasses like outdo me in this, because everybody gets a turn. You know what I mean? Your
Mhm.
turn.
Mhm.
Let me see what you got. Your turn. And then that has
Wow.
it where it's like after class, I got 2 or 3 people waiting after class to talk to me. To be
Wow.
like, hey, you think, like I could come in a little bit early, I don't like absolutely. So like hip
Mm.
hop is infectious in that way. And when I got to that point in DJing, I was probably 19, 20. I had been DJing a few years. Hip hop wasn't moving in Boston like it could have been,
Mm.
as far as, and this is before what I consider to be that, like Boston hate came into play. It was
Mm.
just Boston was behind. Break beats is taking other people's music, right, and looping it and rapping over it. That is the inception of hip hop. You know what I mean? So to hear everybody coming out with records and trying to get a live band and playing these adaptations of, you know break beats instead of using the break beats, I was the happiest person on the planet when Marley Marl invented sampling, where he's just like,
Mm.
he's using the James Brown break, and he's using the best part of this record, and he's using a part of a record that he's looping that you couldn't mix as a DJ because it was one bar. You literally have to be going back and forth for 5 minutes
Wow.
with perfection and have the MC to have confidence in you
That is like
to
unfathomable.
yeah. So it was pretty much that, and I was okay when I had a kid at 20,
Mm.
and then it was time like, oh, okay, it's time to actually get a real job because I was making my money DJing, doing parties. That was feeding my record habit, and I always had a job from 15. But now when you have a kid, you have responsibilities, and I'm out of high school, and like I was contemplating moving to New York for about a
Oh.
year out of high school, just because I felt it was the next step for me to further myself as a DJ.
Mm.
But then, like I said, I had a
So that's
kid,
crazy.
and
You
then
even because that's definitely like I mean that hasn't changed that pressure that a lot of creators feel to go to these other markets. So you felt that same pressure back then.
oh yeah, the pressure to no, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
And only keep it a stack. Come on now.
Okay, like us as the youth growing up, our objective was really to live to be like my objective was to live to be 25. So, you know what I mean? To not get killed in the hood, to
Wow.
not fall victim to all of the traps that are set strategically for the downfall in the hood. I'm my mother's
Mm.
only son, and I was told that a relatively young age. If you get into trouble and go the wrong side of the tracks and you land in prison, I'm not coming to see you. I'm not doing that. So I already knew from before I even was able to start getting into trouble that, and I'm my mother's only son. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I that was my scared straight. You know, like work. You know what I'm saying? I had a record habit. I had a DJing habit. I'm an equipment whore. Pardon the expression, but like I own 6 turntables. I own 3 mixers. I own keyboards, three or
Oh
four
my
drum machines.
gosh.
Like that was my addiction for a long time. So I had all of the stuff. And then this group named T.D.S. I had a friend. I have a friend. His name is Oogie. And he knew the rapper in the group and was telling me about him. And Boston has kind of like a reputation for kind of not really being hot, up to date with the hip hop. So it
Oh
was it
dang.
was chit chatter to me when he said it, but
So
he
they were
kept
already
saying it, and
formed
then he kept
when you found
saying it,
out.
and then at one point I got tired of hearing him say it because then he said one day I'm gonna bring him by the house. He only lives right over in the Lenox. He lives over in Lenox Street Projects, which was a couple blocks away from my. I live in the south. I lived in the South End. Shout out to the South End too. Our
Mm.
water is different in the South End as far as the hip hop. So one day he brought him by my house and we connected, and he's a Cancer like me.
Okay.
You
Shout out to
know,
the
like
cancers.
there it is. He's hip hop. He already knew how to DJ. He know how to rap. He knew all about the records. He was actually showing me records that I had in my collection. Oh, did you know about this record on this? He knew he had a very great knowledge of hip hop. And he was 4 years younger than me. Like he was 18. At that point I was 21 years old. So he was like 17, 18 years old.
Oh wow.
And we clicked to a point where I got recruited into a group. There used to be a gentleman in the name of the group named Treacherous Ty B. He is the T in TDS. Now, TDS
Mm.
Mob stands for Treacherous, Devastating, that's Dev, Supreme, Supreme Cool Supreme MC, and then the Mob, because acronyms was the thing always. Musically
Mm-hmm.
Organized Brothers. That's what the Mob stands for. But
Okay. Who came
but
up with
it's
that? Who
it's
came up with
TDS
that?
Mob. And when Ty B, and he told the story a couple years ago in a different interview because I was anxious to hear the story because I had never heard it, and it wasn't a subject of conversation back in the 1900s and 1980s when I asked, "Oh, so whatever happened to why Ty B ain't Ty B is not to be spoken of." It was one of those type of
Oh
situations.
no.
So I just left it at that. There's
Yep.
smoke is smoke. I don't want to open up no wounds and get to having nobody stop pouring salt. So I left it at that.
Mm.
And I joined the group and we started. I'm a show DJ. I'm a outside playing music, get the crowd involved type of DJ. Dev, his specialty is scratching and cutting
Mm.
and finding little words, you know what I'm saying, to flavor up the choruses for whatever G wrote. So we got to it. Uh, G was working at the Tower Record Store up on Mass Ave in Newberry at the time, and he met the guy that turned out to be our manager, one of our managers there working. And one day, G got all the breakbeats because he's a hip hopper. He ended up ordering all the breakbeats. There's a
Genius.
25 volume Ultimate Breakbeat collection that is the ingredients for a lot of the records that was made back in the early days of
Wow.
hip hop. And they have 25 volumes, and on one volume would have 6 or 8 breakbeat records in, the whole song. And the break is on there. But they would make these plates. G ordered 2 copies of every one of those break beats, grabbed everyone, and then walked out of that store, never to return to that store to work again.
Wow, y'all had the plug though.
Yeah, so yeah, like that was the beautiful part. I mean, the plug was people that knew what they were doing and where they were at, and knew what,
Mm.
like G knew he sacrificed knowingly. He went into it, and I love this dude because of a couple of reasons, but this is how much we loved hip hop. You know what I mean? To have it where it's like,
Mm.
I'm gonna sacrifice my job because they're not gonna arrest me.
Wow.
They'll be able to take my last paycheck to pay for the records, but I gotta have all of these and I gotta have them now. He walked
Mm.
out, quit that job, and of course his manager, who came to be the manager, still worked there. And it was just like, yeah, they're not gonna give you a check. It's like I don't care about that check. And we started making demos. You know, we started making demos, and then we got managed up with Cohen Square Management. They started to shop the demos that we made. We made 5 records. Well, we made 5 demos.
Mm.
Uh,
Where was that
Dope for
management
the
company
folks,
based?
huh?
Where was that management company based?
Say that one more time. This phone is muting out on.
No, you're good. Now I was saying, where was that management company based? Was that in Boston too?
Yep, that was in Boston. There was our address. Oh, let me shout this up.
Also, the Wonder Twins hopped in the chat. Shout out to Legendary
That's my
Extraordinaire,
guys.
the
Yeah, there it
infamous
is.
Michael
Like,
K.
yeah, the one that those are, and there it is. Those are, I won't even say Boston hip hop legends. They're just legends. They're legends as
Mm.
men and legends as, like what they do in hip hop.
Mm.
But, like, where was we at? What was we talking about?
The management company.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. They initially Cohen Square Management. Our address was 89 Mass Ave. It was a damn post office box over there by the Tower Records, across the street from the Tower Records that lived in, where they met each other. And trying to shop the record and getting, the Heisman had it where they decided to do independent. Press up 2,000 copies and get in the car with the sell them out the trunk, pull up. Went to New York, passed out records to every radio station that played hip hop in New York that we could find the address on labels for. Did the
Wow.
same thing. We went to Philly, did the same thing. Philly gave us twice the love that New York gave us.
Hmm.
Twice the love that New York gave us. And that was inspiring because we went to New York first. And then, New York was just like, where y'all from? Boston. And it was just like, oh, it's one of those type of
Hmm.
things that happen where it's like, oh, this is the gonna go. We met our idols, and our idols basically told us in our face, you know, we'll see. You could tell from the meat that it wasn't gonna, they weren't gonna play the record. So
Interesting.
for the record to pop, here's the thing: underground hip hop was underground. In 86, 87, there was Jive Records. There was like I could count on maybe 5 hands, 5 fingers, the amount of hip hop labels. Even Curtis Blow, who was
Mm.
on the first artist signed to a major label, he was on Mercury Records, and he was a band. He was one of them, band playing MC. When hip hop took the direction of where it was at with KRS-One and Rakim and
Mm-hmm.
Public Enemy and sampling and like the Premier and Guru, Gangstar, that's where the wave was. So it's like it's sampling records, so
Got
We
you.
had all the ingredients and the know-how from all being DJs and having Anthony Cool Jesus, Cool G, Supreme Cool G being like a wordsmith and just having one of those like very witty, brilliant mind. So we architect 5 records out of our demo. Dope for the Folks, Crushing Them, The Rhyme Me About to Hear Is True, Bounce, and Head of the Dope Committee. And
Mm.
we we went we put out 2 of them in 1987 as a double-sided disc, a two-sided hit. You know, they usually when you put out a record, you put out the good side, and that's the other side. My objective as being a DJ and hating that. Nope, we're not gonna have a whack side. It's gonna
Mm.
be this. You got to pick which is the A side or which is the B side. But there's not gonna be the B side. There's so many people that it's like the B side wins again when that song or that phrase came out. It's just like that lives. That hit home for me because it's like, yeah, see, I'm an album cut person. I'm a person that want to go on, pull a record out of my collection, right? And Aretha Franklin,
Mm.
right? I'm over in the A's. I line up my records by the first name, not the last name. So if it's Aretha Franklin, it's not going to be on the Franklin. It's going to be on the A. But I'm
Mm.
looking for the song on this album that is not the hit, but is the one that someone's
Wow.
going to come up to me later on in the party or in the night and say, you played my record off of that song.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I own that album. That is the hottest record. It's like, yeah, high five, high five. You know what I mean? So that's the pride that I take in being a DJ out, even in hip hop. You know what I mean? Me playing the break beat or me playing the record that most people haven't heard it except for that one or two people that's gonna be like, oh, is that MF Doom? Are you kidding me?
Mm.
So
I
me
love
living for
that.
those little moments had it where that's what I want to incorporate in any hip hop that I'm involved in. So
Yeah. I'm
me
picking up
being a new
on.
me being plugged into the group and being a new person and being the person that, there it is. I met Dev. I was Anthony's friend. When I met Dev, it was just like it had already been decided almost
Mm.
that I was going to be in the group. And I didn't even make a real meet or connection with Dev. Me and Dev, like, we're like this. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother right
Mm.
now. But back then, I was 4 years older than Anthony and almost 5 years older than Dev. So they were kids. You know
Wow.
what I mean? They were kids and I was an adult. And I took on that responsibility to be the level head when,
Mm.
when
Mm-hmm.
when they wanted to have fun, I was the one that understood. It's like, come on, man, they're young men. They're, like
Mm.
this is where we're living our dream. You know what I'm saying? Let them turn up a little bit. You know what I mean? I got a kid. I got a kid. I got.
You were the sober friend.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm the one that y'all go have fun. I'll do the interview. You know what I mean? Because if they're in an interview, it's gonna gonna be tomfoolery anyway. You know what I mean? So you might as well just let me do the interview.
Yeah, I
So
love that you mentioned that because I actually, I did some digging and I love YouTube. Let me just say, I love YouTube. There's
me
so much
too.
archived on there that isn't on like, other DSPs. Like I can't even find y'all's records on, Spotify and Apple Music.
That was by design after 2011
Mm.
because we did a deal with a label over in Europe, in England, called Diggers with Gratitude, DWG, and our record popped over there because somebody came to the States and was digging, found our record in one of these little indie stores, these little mom and pop stores, bought a copy of the record, went in Boston, they don't have turntables in the store where you can listen to the record before you buy it.
Oh.
So he just took the one, he took a chance, took the record, bought it, took it home, listened to it, and was mad that he didn't buy two copies. Ordered the record and had it another copy or two and sent to him so that him and his partners all had a copy of the record because they was even mad. Why didn't you buy three? It's like I didn't know it was this. You know what I mean? It was like it was a local
Wow.
record from a local group. You know the rules of digging in the crates. You know, you find a local record from a local group, you buy it, and because it's independent, super independent. So
Yeah.
we had a two-sided hit with Dope for the Folks and crushing them on the independent side of things. And then that really got us on stages and doing our little college run and doing our radio runs, any little thing that popped up having to do with benefits, promoting the group, or playing live on any venue, whether it was radio or live on stage. Our management had us out there doing that. And that was
Mm.
the best until it wasn't the best because when you do so much charity work, you get a little tired of doing charity work. Not me per se because I just love the music and the culture, but it got to a point where, like, yeah, my my goal became keep my fingers crossed and just hoping we put the album out before everything hit the fan,
Mm.
you know? And like there it is. We came out with a second single in 1990, late 90, and that was the single that had where you could not notice us. We had two
Mm.
videos out. We came out with a socially conscious record called What's This World Coming To. It was B-sided with a first of its kind type of record based on a conversation that I had with Anthony because I used to be in a group called the Chain Reaction.
Oh.
Me, my sister Christy C, who had quit DJing and became an MC.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then
That's kind of
Rob,
epic.
who was my best friend at the time, my high school best friend, we met at Cathedral in 10th grade and we became the closest of friends. He was so I was already in a group that had one MC and two DJs. But
Mm.
when the opportunity and my sister, she is one of those creatives. Like there it is. She was curious about DJing. I taught her how to DJ. She was so good at DJing that she was the DJ that I said, before you battle me, you have to beat my kid sister. And then there it is. I could sick Christy C on people, and then it would be a wrap because first of all, she could go, she could DJ, she was fast, she was a student, and she was a girl. So people be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, girls kicking! Oh, it was beautiful."
Of course. Of
So that
course.
added to my legend as being like this super like, yo, if you see what his sister does, and then they say, yeah, the sister, yeah, like she he can't be better than her. And then that's what ended up getting, chitter chatter and people talking. Ended up having it
Mm.
where one day the student wanted to test the teacher, and then the student got, you know, there it is. She quit, and she quit DJing after that. So it's just
No
like, oh, I showed
way.
you all my tricks. Oh, I didn't show you this. I didn't show you this. Did I show you this? Like it's
Dang.
just like, oh, I'm never. When I show you so many different things that you haven't learned yet that I've already learned, then it's just like, all right, okay, I don't have aspirations to do that. I already know that if I start rapping right now, you love rappers, you'll never be able to beat me in rapping. So I was in Chain Reaction, and she got to be so good that it's like, oh, it's popping. And I was in that group, and we were in the studio making demos and copywriting stuff in Washington D.C. and learning the process of the music business because I had heard a billion stories from these people sitting here in my living room about how treacherous the music business is.
Yeah, I
You
was
know what I'm
gonna
saying? It's like
ask,
at
like,
least
it
let me
seems
get some
y'all
pop.
got pulled into the business side of things, like, very quickly. How did you know that you needed management and became aware of, like, how the whole industry works?
Well, management is like our management served as a plug. The plug into the music industry. He was a music industry guy. He worked at Tower Records, so he had a relationship with people at record labels, and you know what I mean, and
Got
and
you.
and relationships with that, and how to deal with the music business as far as talking with people, and building those relationships outside of the business part of it. So, like he looked at it like he just rap. His Race Records, which is the label that we was on initially, our first label, they were looking to have rap fund their rock aspiration.
This
They're
was a
like, we can
Boston
make a couple
label?
of rap is easy. It's you know what I mean. It's not a drummer and this and then that and then the bass player and then the coke and then the alcohol. All you got to do with rappers is put these little kids, give them their little weed smoke, some video games. They've had us in the studio. There was video games in the joint. It was a hangout. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So that was easy for us to be in the studio and knock those 5 records out because we went in there with a plan. But there it is. Once we got to the point where like we were super buzzing, we got a distribution deal with Relativity Records to distribute our second single. And then we had 2 videos. We shot 2 videos. One was a big production video for the socially conscious record, What's This World Coming To? And then the other one was for Scratch Reaction, the B side. And
Mm.
that was the most beautiful record ever created by the TDS mob to me.
Mm.
Because I was in a group called Chain Reaction, right? And I had
Mm.
aspirations of making the first scratch record, the first record where it's like the kick is a scratch, the snare is a scratch, the hi hat's a
Oh,
scratch, the
wow.
guitar is a scratch, and then like doing all the layering because Pause Tape layering had it where I'm gonna lay this and it's gonna, and I'm telling Anthony, Cool G, I'm telling him, yeah, man, and this, hey, I'm telling him, yeah, that it was gonna be called the Chain Scratch Track Reaction. That was the name of the record that I was
Mm.
telling. And it's just like, you know what? That was where I was at in the group that I was at before y'all came to scoop me up. And do you
Wow.
know Anthony goes and a couple of days later, he comes back with a rap that's written on paper. It'd be like, yo, you know that shit that you had said the other day? I said, yeah. He said, yo, I wrote a rap to, that uses little pieces of the record and dot 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 dot. And and then he starts to read it to me, and then he's doing the parts of the records that come in to finish his thought, finish the sentence, and the bar and the song. And it was just like, this dude
Mm.
is a Martian. This dude really is an alien. Like this, we have to pull this off. Like book studio time immediately because you
Wow.
took my vision of a record and you
Mm-hmm.
2.0'd it to a point where there it is. I couldn't wait for us to do our next session in the studio. And our second session in the studio, we made just those 2 records. What's This World Coming To? The first session we
Wow.
did 5 records. The second session we did What's This World Coming To? And Scratch Reaction. TDS scratch reaction, as opposed to it being called the chain scratch track reaction. That was the TDS scratch reaction, and that was where I felt that I was actually contributed to the group. I wasn't
Mm.
just another DJ that was a replace. I wasn't a replacement DJ anymore. I wasn't even in the record dope committee, head of the dope committee, and it didn't come out until 2011. The record we recorded it in 1987, but it didn't actually come out for the world to hear until 2011, until we made the deal with DWG. But in the
Mm.
record it says, uh, it says, I met up with a DJ who calls himself treacherous, so other MCs wouldn't mess with us. That was for treacherous Type B. My
Oh
homie
shoot!
DBC, devastating devastator, faster than a Porsche when he's on a crossfader. That's for Dev. And to be an MC, you got to be supreme
Wow,
because this is all real. This is not no dream, and I'm taking my hip hop to the extreme. Like
I love that.
even in the rhymes, most of the rhymes that was written and said on the first record, my name wasn't mentioned in it because they was written before I was in the group. It was written when Ty B was in the group.
Got you. Mm.
So even at the beginning of Dope for the Folks, my stage and the mic and my two GJs, Devastating Devastator, Andy J, Michael K.
Mm.
That's the like he had to go and recraft a couple of bars in an already written rap to include me in the rap because
I
he
love
was that
that.
with his pen to have it where he was ready to, like he knew that he had a joint. He had like joints. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
but
that's beautiful.
that
That's
scratch
divine.
reaction record, that was my to have it where I can say I contributed to this group. This record would not exist in this group's lexicon of music if I
Mm.
wasn't a part of the group. So
Talk
that
about
is the
it.
record
Talk
I love the
about it.
most. The most creative record you ever want to hear is called T.D.S. Scratch Reaction. It was on Race Records. It came out in the 1990s, and I suggest you all go and Google that stuff.
Yes, sir. It's on YouTube. It's on
Yes,
YouTube.
it's on
You're gonna have
YouTube.
to
And
you have to
finally,
deep in the archives.
the videos are finally on YouTube, but they're hard to find because only one person has the video. And when we did the deal with DWG, this Wolfgang, he has one of those names. I don't even mess it up, so I ain't gonna try. But they did record reviews over in England and Australia and Switzerland for our music because, as I said, a person that was down with DWG took the record over, played it when he was in England, and then all hell broke loose, and he went and got other copies sent, and then their mission or what they do over there and Diggers with Gratitude. That's what DWG stands for. That record label has uh, revived and rejuvenated the careers of a lot of underground or overlooked hip hop artists. So they would go. Their discography is Montebello Tutti Frutti. It's
Mm.
one of those
Let
perfect.
me. I have a question for you, and welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody who's joining. If anybody has a question at any point, please feel free to put them in the chat, or put them in the question bubble. But so clearly, y'all were innovating and really crafting something special, something different for its time, something ahead of its time. I'm hearing like Philly picked it up. Like it was buzzing everywhere else. What's going on with Boston? Like was it because hip hop was still underground that you weren't what was the response like in the city?
The response in Boston was beautiful. Like we had our sights set past Boston. It's like
Oh.
Boston, we considered ourselves as far as at the time and what we was putting out in our stage shows and like our influence as far as us repping our section of the city, which is the South End. It's just like, yeah, we're holding our neighborhood down because that's really what it just like with boroughs. It's like, what hood are you representing? And we were
Mm.
representing the South End. And, like there's Roxbury, there's Dorchester, there's Mattapan, and then there's like projects like Academy Homes, this section of Roxbury, or this section of Dorchester, or this section of Franklin Hill, you know. So, you know, it was that. And Boston support of Boston artists has always been a stigma, and we've always carried a healthy reputation for not sticking up and holding our own and pushing our own up. Because, in my opinion, that's my humble opinion, and a lot of people that, like, will attest to this whether they want to or not. It's like Boston don't support their own like that. And that's
Mm.
not a shot at Boston because a lot of places don't do it. But we're the closest to New York that had the potential to be one of those, Philly, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Boston, 3.5, 4 hours. We're closer to New York City, the birthplace of hip hop, than anything else other than New Jersey. And it got to Philly and got down south, West Coast. Myth. I attribute it to the lack of Boston supporting and bigging up their own and putting,
Mm.
like standing on it. Coupled with art is art, and good art is good art, and subpar art is subpar art. So if we caught a rep for being subpar in certain instances, then it's like sometimes you gotta look at the mirror and just make better stuff.
Right.
You know, we were out of the game in a flash. We came, we saw, we conquered, and then right when we were about to do the plume, everything fell apart.
Mm.
So our group ended by circumstance. It started in '87. By 1991, it was done, and we were probably 3 or 4 tracks shy of a full complete album.
Wow.
And RSO, they did their thing. That was our, in our time, that was the group that we shared a healthy competition and respect for.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The almighty RSO. And like that whole story, even with Smoke meeting me and him shooting a video maybe last year, a couple years ago. No, about last year, about a year and a half ago, he shot a video at the Boston Bruins skating ring for a record that him and Extramentals released, and he reached out to me. He wanted me to be in the video because he found out that T.D.S. Mob were the originators of wearing Boston Bruins attire. You know, he thought, and Twice Style, shout out to Twice Style from Made Men,
Mm.
because that's his people's. He's from Dorchester, and they were doing. They're Boston Bruins fans. Axe and Smokey, they're Boston Bruins fans, so they made a homage video for that, and they had Twice Style do a cameo in the video, and they were having a discussion about Bruins gear, and
Mm.
he said, "Oh, I got to keep it 1,000. We weren't the first ones to wear Bruins gear. It was T.D.S. mom was the first one to wear. So when he found that out, he reached out to
Mm.
me to be like, yo, you know what homie just told me?" And I was just like, yeah, that's a fact. And like there it is.
Wow.
That's when keeping it real goes all the way right with me. Because you know what I mean? I've heard
Mm-hmm.
many of people go on many a platform. I ain't gonna say many people. I've heard one person go on many a platform and say, I started this and I started that and I started the other and I started the third.
Oh, of
And it's
course,
just
of
like,
course.
I'm not even gonna get in the comment section and say nothing. Because, the truth will always come out in some way, shape, or fashion in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the pay dirt to have it where it's like I'm in a video with Smoke and Axe and Dev and Antonio Saldi / Twice Thou, and like that was there it is. These are the outside events that I like to be a part of because I don't really,
Mm.
I kind of stay out of the way. I'm a creative where I was like I'm here in the lab doing. I'm not outside. Look at
Mm.
me, I'm outside. We lit. I'm I,
Mm.
I, I'm not from that era, and when I see it nowadays, where like there it is, everybody, the rapper. Oh, he must be a rapper because he has a chain on.
Mm.
There it is. That's the identity of a rapper now. Oh, you must be a rapper. Are you a rapper or something? You rap?
Mm.
Because I see you with the ice on, and it's like, bro, microphone. You know what I mean? Microphone. Dudes used to wear rings because if you're holding a mic, now you're showing off your jewelry while you
There
getting
you
busy.
go. There you
Now it's just
go.
like, I'm standing out here with my chain on. It don't look nice,
Right.
you
That
know?
actually leads me to my next question. So, obviously, you've been able to see more artists come and go, especially out of this city. And we've had like different stints. I'm noticing different stints of like high level success, and then it always ends up like just dissipating after a certain point. All these different like eras of real motion and buzz around certain artists, and then it kind of fades because they leave or they just end up becoming obsolete and taking a new direction in their careers. But what have you been seeing? What feels very much the same? What feels different? Are you even like is there do you have an interest in like what's going on currently, because specifically with like older generations there's like two still want to be engaged with what's current in this generation. Then there's the others who are like so traumatized or like jaded that they don't really have. I mean, of course hip hop has changed so much, so I'm just curious, like what do you feel about what's been happening over these recent years and what's going on right now?
I think that there's a disconnect, but that disconnect is not the new generation's fault. I feel that. I mean, us having the reputation that we have in Boston for not being supportive of artists, that was generations ago, and we've heard that complaint for a while to have it where it's like there is change now, and
And where does that come from? Like why was that the case? And I mean, because you have the perspective of New York, for example, like in what separates? Why where does that uh like
I used to
affliction
think,
for
you know
mm-hmm.
what I used to think it was, Stack? I used to think it was the I want to make it first. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hate on you because if I make it first, then I can like you. But if you make it first, then I I'm gonna hate you always because
Mm,
there's not enough light what there is. There's not enough light to shine on, like three people, like that whole stereotype that like there can only be one popular person at a time in the limelight. It's
mm,
like, no, limelight is to be taken. It's not to be shared. It's to be
mm,
taken. You know what I mean? So if you break through, New Edition, perfect example. They're not hip hop, but they're hip hop because they're influenced by hip hop.
Mm.
BBD is more of a hip hop influence than an R&B influence group, in my opinion. So
Wow.
it's like that part, the habit where it's like if you're strong and you're determined and you're hardworking and you have talent and charisma and all the stuff that I'm using an R&B group that broke through. And then that was also inadvertently the start of the boy band. That and the boy band is a group of individuals that are not related to each other that are a singing group. They're
Mm.
not the Jackson Five. No, they're not the Whispers that or the Ozzy Brothers that three or four people in the group.
Mm.
Like y'all grew up, y'all know each other all your lives. That's me taking this person from this household and this person from this, and and then taking these five people and making them work in syncopation with the same common goal to like my turn to shine, and then we all shine, and then now Bobby, you know, Bobby Brown's hunger for the limelight and the spotlight, and had it where it's just like, oh, we got a double like we got a double pack out of that because we got New Edition as we got three actually a trifecta. We got the three for the stripes because we got out of that we got New Edition as far as impact. Then we got Bobby Brown. Then we got BBD. We also got
Mm.
Ralph Tresvant. I was just watching some stuff on Ralph Tresvant the other day to have it where it's like, man, that was my guy. And there it is. There's a perfect like success story and then a failed success or what it could have should have been success story because anything came coming out of like the R&B side of what we was doing back in the days was smoking off the charts. Maurice Starr and like the records that he was putting out, Pac-Man, which turned into Pac Jam because he had to change the name because he got sued by Pac-Man Company.
Oh wow.
But like, yeah, Prince Charles and them.
Mm.
We had a very strong music scene, but the outlet had it where to make it, you gotta either go somewhere else and then be introduced as a Boston artist or bust, you know, or bust, you know.
But
That's
then
that that's literally how it was back.
here's my question though. I understand that piece of like if there are clearly resources that are not in your vicinity, then you're gonna go where they're abundant. Was there like that extra piece, that extra step of like once you leave, as like I feel like as an artist you have two decisions, or as anybody really, you either take that and you continue down your path and you kind of grow on your own, or you bring that value back because community is something that is like a part of your story and a part of your why. But it seems like these artists get to these high points and they end up not really ever coming back or taking
Mm,
those opportunities to like bring the rest of the crew with
to
them. So
open the
is
door.
yeah, and
That
it,
sometimes that is that's a slippery slope because like take once you get to be known as who you are, not about your region, I don't ever hear Michael Jackson from Gary, Indiana.
right.
You know what I mean? Whitney Houston from New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey. It's just Whitney Houston. It's just, you know what I mean? But the reason why I can focus on the New Edition as being like a Boston premiere because there's so little of what is considered to be black Boston talent that has been shown worldwide. You know what I mean?
Right.
Edo G is who I consider to be the most successful MC out of Boston, the most
Mm.
popular, you know, and his skills match his popularity to me from the start, and they've only increased. So,
Mm.
it's one of those things to have it where it's like opinions are opinions. Like my opinion on it is that we have a stigma on us as Bostonians that held on to, and without having a strong structure musically, where we're developing artists, like, you know, we're developing talent. We have a hub where we can all meet as creatives that are young in it or aspiring to do it and get some tutu, get to, like touch the turntables with a DJ that used to do it the old way. Somehow, how many people have never, that are rappers that have never owned a mic or rapped on a mic, or how many DJs that have never touched vinyl or know the difficulties of
Mm.
like using the using the pitch button to make your mix flow effortlessly. It's that stuff that I think if those programs were in place back in the days, or even like in modern times, that would birth the next person that is gonna
Mm.
like make breakthrough and do that.
Yeah. And what do you
Unbothered.
feel? What do you feel needs to happen in terms of that community support piece? Like, what would need to happen for us to like get there finally? What is in the way of us becoming like a city that does support its people?
Fund funding, grant the right person with the right ideas, the right vision, and the capital to make it
Mm.
happen.
Mm.
For a little while, I was, and I've been a part of the way I can make my difference and make my change and be a part of it nowadays is when people get grants, you know, there it is. You're getting money to do a program, and getting your money to do your program. Sometimes you do outside events. You're doing fundraisers. You're doing displays of whatever your grant, whether it's sports or whatever it is. It's like every event is a better event with music involved, especially music that you can
Mm.
control because someone else is controlling the music. I'm not talking about a speaker and a telephone and like Spotify. I'm talking about having a DJ there, and you have the right DJ or you have the right people like that, then they're going to always have an open mic. They always have
Mm.
your attention because they're orchestrating, the sound drop to whatever event you're having, and there it is, information. Get on the mic, give people information, thank them for coming, be cordial, be nice, like just like you did with the local artist spotlight and the welcome, like welcome the guests and the housekeeping rules. Like when you lay it out in a way in which that is just like, oh, this person is entertaining. This person is informative. This person has, for a young lady, she has a wealth of knowledge or she has a bubbly personality. Those are always going to be the ingredients to draw people in, even the ones that are just,
Mm.
I don't smile, I don't do nothing. I'm just sitting waiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah,
once you play that record to have with, it's like, that's joint right there. Now you got people looking at you different because they was all stoic like this, ready to, hold their underarms until now you got them doing this. You know what I mean?
yeah. And that's
It's
that's
the
the power of the
connection through the
arts.
art. That's how
Yep.
we get them.
Mhm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how we get
Paul
money.
Willis. Paul Willis in the chat shouting out BTO, 617 Peak, Teen Empowerment, Zoomix, Boston Music Project. We got a whole bunch of organizations that are literally designed to give a platform to youth, emerging creatives, giving them the resources to pursue it in a sustainable way. They all need investments to send artists out to tour, promote, marketing in magazines, digital ads, physical media. It all costs. It sure does. Oh man,
All
yeah.
important stuff, and it's all good stuff. So, I that's what inspires me to go outside. And I used to be more connected with that part of it. Like when I changed my name from Michael K to Dinosaur K, I did that in 2017 to reinvent myself. Michael
Okay,
K.
rebrand.
Yeah. Okay. So Michael K. Williams, the actor.
I feel like I do. Oh wait,
Okay.
yeah,
Omar from The Wire.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Omar from The Wire, his birth name was Michael K. Williams, and I was Michael K. before he was Michael K. because I was older than him, but he made my name hotter than I made it for the time I was
Mm,
away. So when I came back and was just like, I Googled, because Google exists. I Googled, like, oh, let me see what's before, like I get back started. Let me see if somebody made my name more hotter than me.
oh my
And
gosh.
if I don't feel that he's a threat, then it's no worries. And as soon as I typed Michael K, it was like Michael K. Williams. Oh, I'm from the YS. It's like okay,
I'm dead. Man, see,
I
this is
gotta.
where trademarking comes in handy, man.
Yeah, but like there it is, trademarking. I can't trademark, and that was the decision that I made. And then he died during
Hmm.
COVID, and I was happy that I made the decision because like all this. Oh, you ain't Michael K. That could have inadvertently caused me to start
Mm,
fake beefing with an icon that I love and I respect based on us sharing the same name. I just opted
mm.
to be like, you know what, Michael K. I've only ever had one name for my whole DJ career. You know what I mean? It's DJ Michael K. And that's Michael Kevin. My last name is Shelton, so it's just two of the three. First name and first initial. So when I was getting back into it, like all the technology, like computer now and hard drives and digital records and all of this stuff was overwhelming to me. And I just one day I
Mm.
was just like, damn, I'm a dinosaur in this piece. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I'm a dinosaur. Like when it went from CDs, y'all messed me up bad. And then it went to MP3s. Like I'm getting further and further away from my country. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And then then it just got to a space where it's like I'm just now a consumer of music. I'm just a music fanatic. I just listen to music. I'll always dig. I'll always search for new music to excite my palate. But DJing and lugging equipment and like spending $15 for an album and there only being two songs on it that you like. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth the money. So when I came back and when I was reintroduced to it and with all the technology, I went and I sought out the person from my circle of friends that was the most involved in DJ and with the most passion. And
Mm.
that person was DJ Nestle Quick. He's a Boston legend, and he's a Boston
Mm.
legend to me that he's one of them unsung legends. That's the DJ that I respect, I look up to, and I call my brother and
Mm.
my family because of when I was introduced to him. He had knew who I was, and I knew who he was. People know who I was because I had a record out. I was DJ Michael K from T.D.S. Mob. You know what I mean? But then there's DJs that are just as good or better than me
Mm.
that don't have those accolades. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it was just like people hear if you have a reputation, whether good, bad, or indifferent, people are going to hear about it. So,
Mm.
he was receptive to meeting me and vice versa. And we made a connect. And that turned into a friendship. And then for a while, he was doing radio. He was doing radio. He was doing internet radio. He had a couple of stations that he was spinning on. And then at some point, he said, "You know what? I'm tired of spinning on other people's platform." He started a platform. He asked me to be a part of that to help him build a platform, and I was a QuickTimeRadio.com DJ for a few years, all the way up
Wow.
until probably almost the end of the pandemic, when I started to get into grant, like chasing that bag, chasing writing grants and being part of, trying to get the music out there to a wider audience because,
Mm.
it's infected to infect the generation with the love of creating
Mm.
hip hop. So I'm always
I
gonna be in
love
that.
that. Oh, that's your mission statement.
That is, it always is. Like music loves kids. I actually wrote a mission statement, and it's the MLK Music Loves Kid program to have it where you want to. This is a chance you get to connect with the youth or with music lovers or the willing to learn something new or outside of their comfort zone by, like, here, look, everybody loves music. Give me your 10 favorite songs. Everybody had, okay, not now. You got a week.
Hmm.
15, since I'm giving you 7 days to do it. 15 days. 15, that's 2 songs a day. I want you to create a playlist. And then once you create the playlist, now everybody has their own. If I have 7 students that have 15 songs, that's 7 music sets. Or
Mm. Oof.
one big party. If I take your 15 records, your 15 records, and your 15 records, and your now that's like 90 records,
Wow. I
and I
love
have
that.
7 people. Now I'm gonna take you and show you your playlist, show you how to blend your playlist together. Your 15 favorite songs, I'm gonna show you how to make them into like a
Mm.
one long mix. Okay, now we got your mix. Now let's take 3 songs from Cheryl's playlist and 2 songs from this person's mix, and then add those in. Now give me another 2 songs off your plate, and there it is. That has it where it's just like I know how to infect the people with the desire to want to take it further. But it's having the venue and having the funding and having the right night and the right space and the right promotion and marketing
Mhm.
and all the other pieces parts, to have it where the creatives that love to bring forth the culture like yourself, like if you get the right people with the right motivation on the same page, it's like this is not just me. This is me. This is
Mm.
Beantown 6 foot stacks. This is smoking instrumental. This is what I'm saying. All the artists that I met at the event, Brandy Blaze, and you know what I mean.
Right.
It's a lot to have it where that's how I see it. But getting people on page and in the same room and on, like
That
that,
part,
that
because
could be
we're
a
all
challenge
doing
at
like
best.
we're all doing the same work. Like at the essence of it, we're doing the same work, but just in different ways, in different fonts. So if once we realize on a greater scale that we're all pushing for the same thing, and it makes a lot more sense to just pull our resources and our minds together. I the
The
limits
world would
are,
be a
are
better place
limitless.
if,
It's
if, if, if
limitless.
the option was open. I just wish we had a place where it's like a creative. space where once a week, you know, and it's not a meeting, it's not a this, it's a all of the above. It's a meeting space, is talks going on in the section of the space, and then there's lessons
Yeah.
going on in the and then there's practice going on in a section of the space, and you know, bring different, you bring health, you bring a healthcare professional, that likes to do like aerobic, dance aerobic.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, look at this. This DJ's playing music, they're dancing, these people are doing aerobics to it, these people are using it as a backdrop to,
Yeah. Well, if you
practice
don't
rapping.
see it, now, it means there's an opportunity for it to be created.
Yeah, like, yeah, follow Beantown Talks. Like, this is a beautiful platform. I've been watching you.
Thank
I've been
you.
watching you,
Thank
like, since
you.
we met and we connected. I've been watching your work, and I'm watching your grind and seeing how you put forth your point of views. And like I said, you're part of the youth, and the youth will always be the future. Like
Mm.
it or lump it. You know what I mean? The youth will always be the future. They will always have influence. They will always have a voice, and they always need to be heard. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate the platform to be able to talk my little stuff that I like to talk, and it's really that. Like, fall in love with
Absolutely.
music. Music is escape for a lot of people. It's refuge and peace. Like I said, I there it is. That's what I spoil myself with. All of this stuff back here.
Mm.
Thelonious Monk, Miles is back there, Cheryl Lynn is back there, Diana Ross is back there, Barry White. Like, I got an army of people that make me feel good on a daily basis.
Wow. Oof.
You
I
know,
love that. I love that so much.
so
Michael, thank you. Thank you so so much. Thank you for even taking the time, cuz I'd be having so much energy. You could have been like, who's this little youngin? But the fact that you have such a deep desire to pour and to pass on in everything that you're doing right now, it's so necessary, because it can stop with you and of the generations before. If it stops there, then we have nothing to go off of. Like this is so necessary, because I wouldn't get this
see
anywhere. I
that
wouldn't get
part
this
right
anywhere
there. Like, this is a lost art of this is a lost art, and I say that, I mean, like, loving arts passionately. It's just like, like, well, when I get around to it. There was a time in my life where I used to get around to it, and then it was just like, you know what? I'm getting around to my joy. You know what I
mm,
mean? No, you got to put that. Sometimes you got to put the joy first. So, like
mm,
this, I'm glad that, once again, anytime I go into an event with charity in mind,
mm,
I get something out of it that makes me glad that I put forth a charitable, like, handout. So, like, the Smoke Instrumental comic book launch, it was amazing. You know what I mean? I know that Smokey had a lot of stuff on his plate. He had a trip plan. He was spending a lot of money. I was like, bro, do not worry monetarily about this event. You know what I mean? This
mm.
one is for the culture. This one is for, like, a good cause. I don't want that hanging over your head, worrying about, like, breaking
Wow,
me
that's love.
off, or haggling over that. I got you as a DJ. You know what I'm saying? And there it is. That whole pay it forward thing. I'm a
Yeah.
strong believer in that, and I tend to pay it forward to people that I know have the currency to pay it back. So that
Mm,
introduced me to you, and then us had this conversation that will hopefully add to what you're doing, and producers, people that I'm a dinosaur. Like I said, I'm an analog person. I'm an analog person.
hey, that don't mean that you're old though. Because when I
But
saw
but what
Dinosaur,
I'm
I was like,
saying,
okay,
as
she's a
far as it's
giant.
blocking my creative, it's blocking my ability to create on a higher and a faster level because
Mm.
like the youth or those that know, they don't pay it forward when it comes to information. That's another reason why we're still where we're at. When somebody gets to a spot
Mm.
where they know stuff and they could go and reach their hand down and pull people up,
Yeah.
they opt to like, you know what, he'll get up there eventually. So it's just
Mm.
like I have drum machines that, like technology, like it's simple shit like that to have it where it's like I'm a person where you can show it me and I'll learn in a second. You can explain it to me, you might have to explain it to me 10 times. So I'm
Mm.
looking to find creative, no youngs that know how to work equipment and just need a place. That's why I was trying to set up a school to have it where it's just like, yeah, if I could just take all the
Mm.
stuff that I have and set it up in a place to have it where people can come to learn how to DJ because I got three setups set up. Learn how to play keyboards because I have a keyboard, but I don't know how to play it. But it's part of the equipment that I bought. So
Mm.
I'm
Hey,
hoping.
you put the call out. Listen,
Yeah.
if there's
So there it
anybody
is.
who's willing,
We
anybody
gonna
who's
get it
willing,
out there. Yeah.
and it's
All
an
creatives
exchange
that.
too. You teach something, you also learn something. There's you can always gain something and give something to anyone that you come across. So if
That's
there's
what I'm
anybody in
trying to
the
do, young
chat,
lady.
oh my gosh, Michael, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing. Thank you for being so open. And bless your soul. Thank you for being part of the fabric of this city's history and legacy. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I went to that event.
Me
I
too.
genuinely wouldn't have known. I would
I'm
not
glad
my
you. I'm glad you went to the event too. I got a T-shirt for you. This is part of my merch. When I first came on the scene and changed my name, Dinosaur K.
Okay.
I love the sounds of DJ Dinosaur K on the wheels.
I love that.
So
Okay,
I
merch.
got a
I see
T-shirt for you.
you.
It might be a little bit big because I ran out of small sizes, but I got you, man.
It's okay. We rock oversized too.
That's what it is.
Listen, please let the people know where they can find you, where they can keep up with you. Anything coming up that you want to promote, like please feel free to share.
Hey, okay. You can follow me under my Instagram DJ Dinosaur K. That's Dinosaur. That's how you spell dinosaur. A lot of people they see it or they say, "Oh, I can't find you." It's not an A in dinosaur. It's DJ Dinosaur K. I'm not really a lot on Facebook, but I am Michael K. Shelton under Facebook. And like I'm doing stuff in the community. If you can always DM me if you need a DJ. I have reasonable rates. I work according to your price plan, and in a lot of cases, and if you're creative or you're doing charity work or if you're trying to, build and bring attention to what you're doing, it's always nice to hire a DJ. And you know where to reach me. You know what I look like. Look for the guy with the glasses and the
Big
chain on.
dinosaur in the building.
That's the only chain I own. This was so good.
Beautiful. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. Y'all heard so many gems, so many stories, and you got the information on where to find Mr. Dinosaur K. So please tap in. Like I said, if there's anybody who's willing to teach one as well, I know a lot of y'all in here be
Yep, I do lessons. Yep, I do. I do DJ lessons. So if you're looking to learn how to DJ 101, and learn how to make a playlist into a reality, or just to impress your friends by having some skills and buying a little controller, and busting out a party. I love creating DJs.
beautiful, beautiful. All right, y'all. That was the fifth Beantown Talks. These are flying by. I feel like every week it's always like it ends up turning into to church for me, even though it's not even Sunday. Like thank you for preaching. Thank you for preaching love and positivity and peace. We really appreciate you. I'm thanking you on behalf of the entire city.
Shout out to the
So
Wonder Twins. Shout out to all the Boston legends,
that
EDOG,
part,
T.D.S. Mob, RSO. Like the list goes on and on and on from the old school to the new school, and all the
absolutely.
aspiring uh, would love to be's. All right, stay
Mhm.
inspired, stay focused, and holla at me in the DMs.
Thank you,
I'm
thank you. No, I
accessible.
got you for sure. Thank you.
All right,
You
sweetheart.
you're laying
Peace.
the foundation I'm walking on right now.
Excellent.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Pop out to the block party. There's like a couple events happening later on today, and I just might see one of y'all there. Stay blessed, everyone. Peace.